Hey everybody, Jerry Mashesky with Balance Community here. Today we're going to look at the BC Longline kit, what comes with it, some tips and tricks, and how to set it up. Let's jump right in. First I want to go over what comes with the kit. So our standard kit comes with a pair of our Cosmic Tree Pro, two 10-foot spannies, an Alpine Weblock 6, a Wafer XL with soft shackle closure, two stainless steel shackles, a roller, and your choice of webbing in whatever length you want. And if you choose to get the 5-to-1 Buckingham system, you also get a second roller and a 2.5 meter 5 mil whoopee sling. And if you choose the Jag Traxion system, you get everything in the base plus the Jag Traxion pulley system, which comes with a 4 mm soft shackle, the two Jag pulleys, 12 meters of 8 mil rope, and a hollow block prusik. All right, so the first thing we're going to need to do is prep our Weblock and soft release system. So unravel your soft release and locate the reinforced sewn end. And so what you're going to do, we're going to have to wind it through the device here. So first, find the top of your Weblock, and you're going to want to pass that sewn loop with the bump of the sewn loop on the bottom down through your Weblock. And then we're just going to kind of ravel it. We need to pass it through 6 times. So just kind of ravel it through the device, trying to keep equal tension until you've passed it through 6 times. And there we have it. So to check that you have 6 strands, just count the number of strands going through the Weblock there. And you'll want to terminate the sewn loop on the end with the last tail coming down. And so we can just take one of our shackles and stick it on there for safekeeping. There we go. And once we have it on our anchor, we'll tie a little tail tie off to secure it. So now we're going to take all this gear, one Tree Pro and one Spanset, to our tensioning anchor. Let's go. All right. So when choosing a tree, you want to find one that has a pretty big size, because you're going to need about 12 inches of diameter at the height you're rigging. And for longer lines, you're typically going to have your anchor at about shoulder to above head height, which you need a pretty big tree to have that size at that height. And so for this example, we're going to keep rigging low because this line is short and I want to keep you in frame. And so grab your Tree Pro and wrap it around your tree at roughly the height you're going to rig. And then we're going to wrap our Spanset around the tree as well, passing it through these black straps. And you'll notice that once I have it all the way around, it's got the end of the slings is pretty far from the tree, and that's a lot of vertical movement. As you can see, it's a lot of rubbing on the tree too when you're oscillating the line. So ideally, we would have it like that. And so find that position that you think is ideal for your sling and the tree you're using, and then fold that excess back and see where it touches the sling again, right here. At that point, we're going to do a sling shortener. And so form an X like that at that spot, And the strand that's on the top, take it and go through the middle of the X. Pull it through, and then equalize these two strands. And then bring that back, and that puts us at right where we need it to be. And then take your soft release system that you wound up earlier. Take off the shackle, pass it through all 3 strands of your sling there, and reattach the soft release on the pin side of the shackle. There we go. And in order to lock off the soft release, we're going to do what's called a mule. And so I'll bring you in close to kind of show you how to do that. All right. So to do a mule, you have your tail on the bottom of the system here. What you want to do is form a loop like this, with the tail on the bottom. And then take that tail, go up over the whole thing, and pass a bite through the loop you made. Tidy it up and cinch it down, just like that. That's called a mule hitch. So that's sufficient for while you're rigging, but to fully close it off, pull a little bit more slack through, and then wrap that bite around again and tuck it underneath. Essentially a half hitch. Tighten it up. And now that's safe to rig on. And to pop it, you just undo that half hitch and you pull the tail to pop that loop. And then you can unwind your soft release, which we'll go over again later. All right, we're here at the static anchor. And similar thing, find a nice sturdy tree with 12 inches of diameter at the height we're going to rig. And you're going to need the other sling, the other shackle, the other tree pro, and one end of your slack line. Wrap your tree pro around. Again, same process. The height you want to rig at. Pass your sling through the slots on your tree pro. And we have the same issue here, where our sling's too long for this tree. So again, find your spot, fold it back. Oh, it's way in the back here. Form the cross. Sling shortener. And I'll add another video on how to do this. Make sure you get that, because it's a really useful technique. And with 10-foot slings, you're going to be using it often. Bring both strands over. And again, that puts us right where we want to be. And then pass your shackle through all 3 strands. And then attach your sewn loop to the pin side of the shackle. And now we're going to walk our line flat to our tensioning tree. Right now we're back at the tensioning side tree. I have flat on my webbing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to form a bite with the walking strand on top and pass that bite down behind the center diverter on the Weblock and to the front pin. And we can start adding tension to our line by simply pulling here on the walking strand and pulling on the tail simultaneously. Get as much tension as you can that way, because it'll save effort throughout the rest of the process. And once you've maxed out the amount of tension you can do with that method, we're going to need to grab our wafer and our roller. Pop open your wafer by unhooking the hook strands. Install the hook plate on the top of the webbing so that the roller's underneath. Push it out to where it needs to be, and install the tail through the roller so the tail comes on the bottom. And that there is the Buckingham system, the base 3-to-1 Buckingham system. You pull here to get tension. Obviously, pulling from behind the tree will give you more leverage. And so max this out as much as you can. And if you got the base kit, that's pretty much all you can do at this point. And so you'll have, once you have the tension you want, you uninstall that, and then you can do a Weblock tail tie off, which you go up through, pass the bite through the Weblock. We're going to do a modified version. There's 3 strands through, 3 wraps. Depending on what webbing you're using, this tail tie-off can be done in a variety of ways. I will link a video for that as well. There we go. So now we are ready to walk this line, provided it has enough tension. If you opted to get the 5-to-1 compound Buckingham system with your Longline kit, and you've already maxed out as much tension as you can get with the base 3-to-1 Buckingham system, you're going to want to grab your whoopee sling and your second roller. First, unravel your whoopee sling. And locate the fixed eye on the whoopee sling. That is the one with the Brummel loop, not the one that has this adjustable tail. And we're going to want to girth hitch this to our anchor shackle. So pass that fixed eye up through the shackle, and then pass the adjustable eye through that fixed eye, including the tail, and cinch that down. And then pass that down through your roller. And you want to push your roller or your wafer out so that the adjustable loop is like right at the roller there. You want this second roller to be as close to that first one as possible, because that gives you the most pulling power or pulling distance. So yeah, you attach your second roller to the adjustable eye there, and then you take your tail of your webbing and you go down there. Then you do the same thing. You pull here from behind the tree, and once this roller reaches here, you just push your wafer XL right back out, pull again, push it out, and complete that process until your line has enough tension on it. I'll do a couple pulls for you to demonstrate. This line is quite short, so we won't be able to get much pull distance. But this system is really nice because the majority of the pulling power is on strands that don't have any friction coming from the Weblock. One of the biggest issues with the standard 3-to-1 Buckingham system is that the majority of the pulling power is robbed by the friction of the webbing inside the weblock. And so you don't actually get that close to a 3-to-1. With this system, we have one strand, two strands, four strands of the 5 with almost no friction. So that gives us really close to the theoretical 5-to-1 mechanical advantage. Once you're done setting up, or you've reached the tension that you desire, you can undo everything here. Undo your girth hitch on your whoopee sling. And complete your tail tie off, as we showed earlier. If you've opted to get the Jag Traxion System as your tensioning system, and you've maxed out your base 3-to-1 Buckingham, you're going to want to grab your pulleys and your prusik. And so, to install the pulleys, first unravel them, and we're going to use the soft shackle on the lower becket of the weblock. Pass through there, around the tail of the webbing, and close your soft shackle. And make sure you position the knot of the soft shackle on this bent plate on the Jag traction pulley. The traction pulley is the one with this cam here. And to extend your pulleys, you're going to want to flip up the cam and push this button on the top of the Jag pulley, Jag traction, to lock it in the up position. And that allows you to freely position the front pulley to get it ready for tensioning. And then unravel the rest of your rope. Extend your pulleys out a bit. And now we're going to need to open the soft shackle on your wafer. Pass the noose end through the Jag pulley, anchor sling, or anchor hole rather, and close the soft shackle again. On the first couple of times before the soft shackle sling on your Wafer XL is set, which it should probably be set from your 3-to-1 system, it might be easier to install it when it's off the webbing. So you can remove the Wafer XL, install it on your pulley, and then put it back on. So once that's all set up, you can press the button again to release the cam, and then cinch up your pulleys. So as the base system is, you have a 4-to-1 mechanical advantage. So when you pull here, you're putting 4 times much to that here. And so you might not, after you've maxed out your 3-to-1, you might not be able to get much by just pulling there. And so to start things off, we can take our roller, clip it to the Wafer XL sling, position it on this side, the same side as the tail of the rope is here and the brake, and then run that through here. And that gives us a 6-to-1 pulley system. We can use that to start. Once again, it's already quite tight, and it's a very short line, so we're not going to be able to do much there. But once you max that out, which for the majority of lines, that's probably the most you'll need. But just in case you need more tension, undo that, take your roller off the Wafer XL, grab your prusik, and find the strand that's entering the brake sheave. So this tail, follow it up through, and that's the strand we're going to install our prusik on. So pass the prusik up. And we're going to need to wrap it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Make sure it's seated nice, not overlapping each other. And then slide it up as far as you can and give it a nice tug to kind of lock it in. Then put your roller there and then run your strand through. So that effectively triples our 4-to-1 mechanical advantage, giving us a 12-to-1. Now we can pull here, and that's quite easy. Pull it until it maxes out, push your prusik forward, tug it to lock it in, pull again, and do so until your desired tension is reached, making sure that along the way you're also pulling slack on this webbing through the weblock. You don't want a lot of slack to build up here, because if something were to go wrong in the pulleys, you want there to be minimal slack to kind of catch that shock load of a force. And so once your desired tension is reached, we're going to release our system onto the weblock. And so what you're going to want to do is position your multiplier such that there's very little space here between the roller and the last sheave of the pulley. And then we're going to take this bungee and clip it back. I like to clip it just around the pin handle like that. Makes things a lot easy, very easy. And then we're going to pull. You want to make sure you have a lot of space between your hand and this multiplier pulley, because when we pull, the cam's going to open, and then we're going to slowly release tension until the weblock catches it. And so you want to leave enough room for your hands to kind of have enough space for that. So we'll pull, popped open the cam, let it out. In this case, we don't have enough space. You can see our prusik is going to get jammed in. And so I'm going to lock the cam in place, reset the prusik back a little bit, and do the same thing once again. This is called reverse tensioning. There, we've just had enough. You don't want your prusik to get jammed in there, because it is not fun to get it out. So just be mindful of that. And there we go. Now we can take everything off and do our tail tie off in our weblock, and we are rigged. We have a beautiful slack line here. And now you can take your wafer off. You can even leave your prusik on if you want. Be mindful it doesn't get jammed. Voila. Then we can put our system away. Once your session is done and you're ready to take it down, you're going to want to undo your tail tie off on your weblock first. And then undo the tie off on your soft release. So note that when you pop this final mule, the soft release will be free to unravel. And so be mindful of that. Keep a tight grasp on that tail. Depending on how much tension is in your line, that could be a little bit fast. And so now we can slowly start to unravel our soft release. So don't actually take the strands out of your soft release when you're releasing. just kind of work some slack into the system, and it'll kind of unravel itself. The longer the line, the more significant this process will be. This line's only 10 meters long, and so we're nearly fully slack now after just 30 centimeters or so. So yeah, slowly work this slack into the system. And when it's loose enough, you can just pop the webbing out of your Weblock. And if you want, you can set your soft release up for the next time. It's a little bit difficult, especially with 6 strands. Sometimes I just opt to take it off and redo it next time, which is what I'm going to do right now. Now we can unrig everything, pack it up, and head home. That pretty much covers the BC Longline kit. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask below or contact us through our various channels. Thanks for watching and enjoy your line.